Preparing to live stream, setting up our meeting. Notice how since I've been talking to you, everything has become a song.
La 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 la.
There we are. Hurrah.
We're
It's
live.
happening. We are. Yay, 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 yay. Okay, welcome, beautiful souls and beautiful Samantha. It is Deb here from Debbie Lim Creative, and this is the Boss Witch Soul Chat, where we get together with amazing, magical women in business and hear about their medicine, their magic, what they're doing in the world, how they got started, and anything else that we feel like talking about. So it is an absolute joy, pleasure, and honor to have you here, Sam. My
Mm.
name is Deb. For those of you that don't know me, some of you might not. Got a few new faces here on Facebook, so welcome if this is the first time you have tuned in with me. So I'm Deb from Debbie Lim Creative. I am a undefinable magical woman in business that helps other undefinable magical women in business. To be seen really and to be heard. So visibility is kind of my medicine for the world. I do this through photography, through retreats, through business coaching, and amazing multidimensional healing and a whole bunch of other stuff. But like we don't have all night, and we're here to talk about Samantha. So we've
Mm.
got the beautiful Samantha May, who is a sacred sound ceremonialist. She is also very multidimensional, multi-gifted, and incredibly talented, as well as stunningly beautiful woman that I've had the pleasure to receive from. And we've
Mm.
got an exciting collaboration that we're going to tell you about as well. So welcome, beautiful Sam. Shall I read your little intro blurb from your website that I
Okay.
off there earlier?
Yes.
Oh, sacred sound ceremonialist. Oh, sounds so juicy and delicious. So Samantha weaves the magic of sacred sound from over 20 different instruments with channeled light language to invoke soul healing, activation, and remembrance. Three of my favorite words, and my lower legs just started tingling. Like
Mm.
no one's business. So we are aligned on this. Samantha's distinct vocal prowess has been described as ancient and celestial, speaking to the deepest layers of your being. And I think when I read that on your website, having been in your sound journeys and been to your incredible frequency retreat, you have nailed it with your bio like that exactly it, because it's often really hard to put into words what we do as mystical, magical, multidimensional, and incredibly talented women. So, did you want to add anything extra onto that intro, that bio?
I think that pretty much sums it up. I just have this passion for music. It just comes through me, and it is music that is not really for entertainment as such, but that speaks to the soul. And it's like these frequencies are asking to be shared at this point in time that we're walking this earth, and it feels like this deep importance there, whether it be through the instruments or through my voice. It's like this soul calling to share the frequency at this time as it holds messages, coding, everything that is needed for the consciousness that is expanding and awakening at this time. Mm.
Amazing. It does feel very, very now. I know, sound healing and song is actually, I was going to say it is the oldest thing, but it is really,
Mm.
so the first there was the sound, and the sound was whatever it was, most likely.
Mm.
And I've been feeling this really strong intuitive nudge for a while that I don't know if you feel this, there's going to be a huge expansion around sound healing, around people stepping into either receive in that space or activate their own gifts or start to play outside the realms of, what they have previously known, because it is so powerful for, like you say, it's a frequency that comes through you, and we go beyond the limitations of our mind and can feel and experience and heal on so many levels. And I find with sound, I wonder if you agree, like so effortlessly and easily, like you can have such a profound experience that you've got no words for. You just have this knowing that something
Mm.
profound has transmuted or shifted within your field. I mean, this is your zone of magic. So just feel free to jump in and add anything extra around what you see, feel, experience. I know you do so many in-person events. So you must see and perceive like so many different sorts of experiences from the people that come to your events.
Absolutely. Yeah, just kind of having lots of downloads and visions as you were speaking there, Deb, especially when we're we think about ourselves as that channel and we're allowing ourselves to be that conduit for whatever energy wishes to come through. And I always found that with my journey and having this curiosity for working with spirit, for being this hollow bone for healing as such. I always found it really difficult if it was just asking to visualize and use my hands and feel the energy. It was like there's something else that's missing. There's a vibration, there's a uniqueness, there's something that wishes to come forth from me other than just energy through my hands and an intention. It is a physical vibration that wishes to come through my body. And with that in combination with, say, for instance, working with Reiki, working with that powerful intention and visualizations, it's kind of like was always the missing key for me, the missing puzzle piece. As such, and that really helped me to tap into these, I guess, these clairvoyant, clairsentient, clear knowing aspects and connections to my intuition that I always thought I was never special enough to experience. And then it all kind of opened once I really embraced the gift of working with sound and frequency in this way. So yeah, hope that makes sense.
It does, and I'm having quite the activation just listening to that because I've been on my
Mm.
own journey of awakening and healing, and I loved that post that you put on your amazing Instagram page the other day, which was speaking into your Reiki journey and then how that expanded you into sound. And as a Reiki master, and I'm opening a bit of a mystery school, shall we call it? I don't want to call it a Reiki school because there's so many more
Mm.
things coming through, but I do find that Reiki is often just that gateway
Gateway.
that people need because personally, I believe we all have that ability. It's
Mm.
almost like having the Reiki attunements and learning the basics is giving yourself permission
Yep.
to step through that gateway and awaken your latent gifts. Like for me, this happened very late in life, really. Like I was 40, I think. And it's the same thing. I felt like I didn't really have any gifts, and they've just been slowly unfolding and slowly growing the more permission that I give myself. And um, and it's interesting, the journey that I've gone on is rising up through the chakras in the body. This feels like the year of the throat and the voice for I'm feeling it in all my clients. Um,
Mm.
and and it actually feels like this is the bridge for many of us into these other senses that are sort of governed by the zeal chakra and the all of the clears that you're talking about. So do
Mm.
you feel that as well, that the sound is the bridge? Because I know when I'm working with Reiki, now that I have started to unleash my voice, when I do bring through sound, the energy amplifies like whoa.
Yes,
And it's incredible.
absolutely. And, our voice is like a fingerprint. It's never the same as anyone else's,
Mm.
and it is often that tangible um, aspect modality that really allows us to drop out of the mind once we stop judging the sound. It is this active form of meditation. we focus on that vibration, that sound, and that feeling, it really allows us to tune into the all that is and tune into the energy that wishes to come through. And it drops us beautifully into that quantum space. And
Mm.
so, as you're speaking into 2025, absolutely, like, I feel like a lot of us who have not been in our power, it's been a lot due to the fact that we haven't been speaking our truth. We have not been living our fullest expression. And a lot of it's due to this throat kind of being locked as such, or not really as free as it could be liberated. And especially for us women, the throat is very much linked with the womb space, both energetically and physically. There is so many studies that show that connection. And so we're really coming into this point now where it's like, okay, no, there's no more holding back. It is time for us all to really step into our power and speaking our truth, coming into our fullest expression, both in our normal everyday lives, right? As well as within tapping into these multidimensional aspects of ourself. The voice is the key right now, and I'm seeing it everywhere. Yeah.
Yes. And so many things just dropped in as you shared that because it's like, um, I was helping a client this week with actually birthing her business. And we actually, when I tuned into my body, I mean, it was really intense, the sensation of a baby coming. And I was thinking, as you're speaking, then it's almost like that, the gateway and the surrender that's necessary for us to actually birth the new earth, right? We're
Mm,
right on it right now, and we are right, right there. And for us to be locked down here often, as you say, means that there's a lockdown at the other end as well. And so this is
mm,
powerful, powerful work. And I can't remember what part you were speaking into, but what I was feeling was this energy of surrender that we are often terrified of, like the letting go of the need for it to sound a certain way and
mm,
getting actually what wants to come. Because I know when I started working with sound, when we focus on trying to project something from here, it'll often go awry. When we really let go, when we surrender to spirit, it comes from much lower down. Do you find that? And then something comes, often I'll make sounds where I think, whoa, where did that come from? But it's much, much deeper. So yeah, that feels really important for the collective. And yes, as women, we have been so shut down. There's other studies that show that people have a fear often greater than death of public speaking. And I think
mm,
like, studies like that are really great. They show us what we kind of know as the witches here for however many times around that we are, that this is a
mm,
very real feeling in the body of fear. And I also feel like the throat is a gateway, from the known into the unknown. But that once we let go, then we're in that space of magic, right? Where life becomes this incredible experience where you don't have to worry and control and micromanage everything because you're actually surrendered over to something a bit greater than yourself and your mind. Oh,
mm.
so exciting. Are you excited about this?
I really am. It's so on point and so, online for many people that I'm talking to at the moment, like my mentor, good friend Melly Rose, exactly the same. Just feeling for 2025 and that the themes are all aligning. So it's awesome. It's really exciting. Mm.
Amazing. So we might segue. I want to come back. Just remind me if I digress to your story and how you kind of activate. Actually, no, we'll do that. We will. We'll do that first. We'll do that first. So let's rewind a little bit. So how did this all begin for you? I was one of those people where you mentioned women being locked down in the throat.
Mm.
And so I joined a little course, like a little mini program, which was called Awaken Your Sovereign Voice or something to that nature. And it was around a time in recent times where we were all facing the fear of speaking our truth and potentially having a little bit of a witchy flashback there, going against the grain and stuff. So I chose to step in at that time. And we were doing various different exercises. And what we came to one of them, we'll link back into this a bit later on. And I actually couldn't make a sound and my heart was pounding and it was like a physical feeling of being strangled and I was like, wow, I had no idea that that was there, that energetic block, or that it was that big. But I also know now, after many years of coaching and energy healing with people, that when often where the biggest block is lies
Hmm.
a superpower. So yeah, super excited to see where that goes. So I'm a beginner. So I'm right at the beginning. I've got my crystal bowls. I've got my shikapa that I made on your. I've got some shakers now. I've got a rattle. I've got a drum. It's just sort of slowly happening. So that was me. That was really quite recently. So how did you begin this journey? Were you trained in all of these amazing musical instruments, singing lessons? How did it all happen?
Good question. And I'm gonna go right back to the beginning. Is that kind of where back to the childhood
Yeah.
stuff?
You want to go, you take us there.
Cool. So I'm not going to like linger too much. It's not going to be a massive story, but I do want to share something that I often forget about when I'm sharing my journey, and I only just remembered it the other day. And basically, I grew up in a really small town where there wasn't really anything like a vocal coach. But what we did have growing up, which my mum and dad dabbled in, more specifically, my mum was there was a healing center back in the day, and my mum was trained in what was called magnetic healing and pulsing by a lady called Margaret Turner in Hawke's Bay. And no one really knew about Reiki, but it was definitely like this hands-on healing, and they all encouraged that gets involved. And so they put someone on a table, and everyone would stand around and do the hands-on healing. So that was kind of introduced to me at a young age. And growing up in this small town, there wasn't much to do. But I loved music. My parents always playing music around the house, grew up listening to all of the greats. And I learned piano from a young age and then kind of moved on to guitar. And I loved music so much. From a very young age, I just started to sing. And then with the guitar, I started to write music. I became like a prolific singer and songwriter from quite a young age, from about 14, and I was being kind of groomed to move into the music industry after high school. And I never, there was a guitar teacher, but there was no singing teacher. So I taught myself how to sing by listening to some of my favorite solo artists as soon as I got home from school and until dinner was ready, eat dinner, go back into my room and like just study these artists, including Jewel, Michelle Branch, Bic Runga, Brooke Fraser, some of my favorite solo female artists. And I was, yeah, being encouraged to go to the New Zealand School of Music down in Nelson, I think it was. But I just wanted to be like my friends and follow my friends and go to uni and be like everyone else. I didn't want to be different. I had a little bit of the tall poppy syndrome going on as well, and I didn't want to admit that I wanted to do music either. And for me, there wasn't this like deep um, kind of purpose around it. It was more like, well, if you follow music, you want to seek fame and fortune and you want to be in the limelight. And that's not really what I wanted. And I didn't want, yeah. I was like this quite shy, anxious teenager, and I kind of thought, you know what, like I can always leave music as a hobby. I want to go and get a job in the corporate world. And I don't know why, but that's where my journey led me. And I spent 10 years in the corporate world. And um it really did, I felt lost. I felt very, very lost. And I I saw my friends move up the ladder, and I was like, why am I just always the admin girl, always forgotten about? Felt like I was living in the Truman Show. Never was really kind of got anywhere with it. And then I did a stint overseas in South Korea teaching English for a couple of years, and then did the yoga teacher training in India, where lots of seeds were planted there from my spiritual journey, discovered Vipassana, went back into the corporate world and just found myself again lost after being overseas for 2.5 years. Like, I thought I would know what my purpose is by now. And it was so important to me that I was doing something. It was like I knew I had a mission, but I didn't know what it was. And it was driving me crazy. And it got to that point in my Saturn return, 28, 29, 30, where my reality really started to just collapse, and I had relationship breakup, got kicked out of a job, had to move house all at the same time for 3 years in a row. And I kind of just had this knowing like something's not working, something's not right, but I don't know what to do. And it was a really hard time, just feeling like I was just this blind woman, not really knowing where I was going in life, but I knew that I was meant to, that I had this purpose. And so I was lucky enough that one synchronistic event after another led me to a sacred healing ceremony. And one of the main modalities that was used in this circle was sound. And I'd never seen these instruments before in my life. And this all happened around the age of 30, 31, and I'm 36 now. Um, and these songs, these mantras, these medicine songs, and I had no idea this existed. And it was like, those seeds that were planted as a young child from like believing in spirituality and hands-on healing and believing in angels. And then also with music and that kind of coming together. And I had no idea that music and spirituality, that was such a thing. And it was like, boom, this eureka moment of, I know this is what I want. I want to, yeah, it really was. I was so lucky. I felt like I've done it. Okay. I felt like I've really found my passion, and it almost kind of just reignited what was already there and just helped me pull back the layers of conditioning of what I thought I was meant to be, that was always there all along. Little Sam knew all along. They always used to say to me, life coaches or life guides, what did you love to do when you were a child, Samantha? Because I had this huge frustration throughout my 20s that I didn't know
That's
what I
great.
wanted to do. And they'd say that, and I'd get angry with them, and I'd say, what do you mean? So it was this big journey of feeling a lot of frustration, but then this, ah,
Oh,
now I know what you're talking about. Like I understand. And it really, the inner child like held so much that I was ignoring for so long as well. So yeah, I started collecting all of these instruments and started sharing these medicine songs that I was learning, and invitations just started kind of coming in, and more invitations then led to regular collaborations, and that led to festival invitations. And eventually I was kind of asked by Spirit to kind of close down after 2 years the collaborations and share my own medicine. And I thought, who's going to want to come and just see me?
half of New
And
Zealand.
it took such a huge leap of faith, because I was so used to sitting in circle with other people presenting. I was so used to supporting others and having like a collaboration. But to finally share my own unique offering 4 years ago, that was like a huge, massive leap of faith. And I was fully backed by Spirit. And yeah, it just kind of took off. And I'm so grateful, but also so surrendered. I think to myself, if this is my last sound ceremony ever and I have to move on to do something else with my life, I'm totally okay with that. I'm so grateful for the journey. So yeah, it's been a beautiful
Ah,
journey.
I
Mm.
love it. I love it. I really, really relate. So many
Mm.
similarities here. Mine was was the art piece, what did
Mm.
you love to do as a child? What was I always doing as a child? Playing mummies with dolls. The me that said, "Oh,
Oh.
no, children, I didn't have that in my life plan," but of course I'm a mum now, and of course, and I was always drawing, always making pictures. That's pretty much
Mm.
what I never did, and dressing up. So there we go. So the dress ups comes through in the photo shoots that I do with people, and that creating
Yes.
that bigger, grander version of self and stepping in and expressing that. And then, but the art piece, that one was really, that's been a journey. There's, yeah, as a creative being, isn't it, to weave that into your magic and create something completely new with it. It requires so much deep, deep work. So I honor you because that was a beautiful
Mm.
story, but I know there's a shit ton of real deep work that goes on to be able to bring that forward and be the person that owns that medicine and says, okay, I'm here to bring through this, and it's my unique thing, my unique creation. I went to art school and learned photography, and then, we were told at art school, you probably won't make any money as an artist, so better learn to be a wedding photographer or something. So that's exactly what I did. So I didn't really do anything like just, I never really let myself go there, but actually I always secretly wanted to paint. It was
Mm.
secret, but I had this big story that I can't, or I'm not a painter. Anyway, so I'm self-taught painter. So I started painting as part of my spiritual awakening, actually. And what it did so many things on every layer of my being for healing. And similar to the sound, it took me out of my mind and let my soul speak to me. And through the paintings that I've brought through are all the activation codes for every single like big step in my life. Like for many years, they just sat there looking at me. I was like, what is all this stuff? Now it's like, oh, okay. And so I think this is beautiful, our work that we're doing, bringing people back into these wonderful, like this is pleasurable work too. This is fun work to do, to return into your creativity, to free your self-expression, your voice, and to give yourself permission to be the person that you came here to be, that your soul wants you to be, because it sounds like that's what happened to you. You've got
Mm.
your own sort of human timeline, where we've got to go on these treacherous paths and learn all the lessons, and then the soul's higher plan is just always there. And then if we can keep surrendering, they have that moment where they converge and your whole world shifts. So as soon as I actually listened to spirit and they said you must put creativity front and center of your business, um, everything shifted. I literally shifted regions, shifted house, ended up on a beautiful patch of land with sacred forest. Like my business went from like knee, like just spinning in circles, recreating myself constantly, not really knowing exactly what the hell it was, to, taking off. And so it's just amazing, isn't it? I hope anyone that's
Mm.
listening is inspired by Samantha's story, that do go back and ask yourself, what did you enjoy as a child? And then think outside the box and let it happen, because I think in the next 2 years, we're going to be seeing all sorts of new modalities and things flushing up with people recreating what we've been familiar with in really new and exciting ways. So this is really, I just get really excited by it all because it feels like
Mm.
returning to that beautiful divine child kind of energy too, where we're in creativity mode and joy. Bring back the joy. Um,
Mm.
so your sacred sound ceremonies are amazing. And it's interesting. I had never heard of you, and then I went out for coffee with a friend, very good friend now. We didn't really know each other at the time, a few years back, and she was like, well, let's go. We were planning our first date as friends, and so we go out for a coffee, and she texted me, I'll tell you all about this out the gate, amazing. Did she call it a shamanic journey, or journey through the three worlds, which I think maybe I saw that on your website that she had done
Yeah.
explaining about. And I was like, who is this person? Like, what is this that you're talking about? And I didn't actually remember your name at the time because I wasn't really in this world at all. And then I've had so many other friends come to this Samantha May event. So I finally made it to one. And
Mm.
yeah. It's just there is no words. You've got to, if you haven't been to one, go on to the social media, find something that's near you because you get around a lot and you just have
Yep.
to experience it. It's because there aren't any words. It's a felt, full body, full multidimensional sensory experience. It's
Mm.
the words, but it's beautiful. It's amazing. Your voice, it's just that beautiful experience of receiving too, which I think in this busy world, the chance to lie down and
Yep.
receive things straight from heaven is priceless. So thank you
Mm.
once again.
Oh, you're welcome.
Ah,
Thank you.
so um, you've got some amazing things coming up, and you've got some incredible offerings and courses on your website, I noticed too. So now you are teaching others how to hold space and um, tell us a little bit about your sound ceremonialist course. I'd love to know um,
Yeah.
what you guys do in there.
Totally. So I started the Sound Ceremonialist course about 2 years ago, and I've ran it 3 times before. I will be holding it again at some point this year. And it started off as like a 6 week course because I had so many women coming up to me saying, I want to learn how to play these instruments. I want to learn how to share in a space. I want to learn medicine songs, all of the questions around kind of what I do when I hold a space and working with the instruments. So I thought, why not? And it was actually the question was, do you have a sound healing course? And I thought to myself, well, I've never had any training in my life with any of these instruments. They all taught me. But I guess it's really about people, I think, see me as a little bit of a way shower in that realm. And a lot of it is just that permission piece. I find for people, these beautiful women that have this calling, to own a crystal bowl and to play a crystal bowl, but they feel like, well, who am I to be playing this crystal bowl? It's like you are everything,
It
you
won't
know?
play without you.
Yeah, so it's beautiful to it turns out I actually have a lot to share because the 6 weeks turned into 12 weeks. I needed a lot more time. So the first kind of module, I guess, is sharing about how to build your sound temple. And it's building your sound temple through kind of like the more I guess ancient and more so drums, rattles, shikapa, how to make a shikapa, how to work with these rhythmic instruments that are often made of
This is the
the earth
shikapa.
itself. Yes, the shikapa.
My shikapa
Beautiful.
made at the frequency retreat, which we'll tell you about shortly. Sorry.
Ah, yes. Yeah, working with all of those instruments, where to get them, how to actually share them, what they do on an energetic level, and then also, with the other instruments, the more celestial angelic instruments like crystal bowls, chalices, chimes, gong, and everything in between, as well as opening the voice in terms of yeah, that vocal activation, medicine song circles. I also share a bit of a small light language activation within that group, as well as how to facilitate a sound ceremony in person, online, one-on-one, and in groups, as well as sharing sound um, online with the tech tools. So I share, like, I have lists of all the tech tools that I own for the sound journeys that I share in person with the mics, PA gear, and all of that. So it's all of the techie things, but all of the energetics behind it as well. And it's definitely more, I would say, that esoteric knowledge that I call forth and share, as I believe so many of us who have this calling to work with sound and be these sound alchemists, they come from this lineage of medicine women who have time and time again worked with sound frequency, and it has been this conduit and connection for them to not just communicate with the earth and receive from these messages from the earth, but to also connect with spirit. These women have sung around fire circles. These women have worked with their voices and knew the alchemy that we can create, and the energy that we can transmute using our voices. And I believe all of this wisdom is coming back. And so often these ancestors wish to really be part of the journey as well. So we invite them forth to help us with this remembering of the sound oracle, the sound alchemist within. And so yeah, I guess the crux of it is for me, when sharing about this work, whether it be light language, whether it be sound alchemy, holding a space as such, it is giving yourself that permission to be that person to hold that space, to be that person who who taps the drum, who dings the crystal bowl. Like, give yourself that permission to be that person. That you are everything that is needed, and you are already it. So
Mm.
yeah, does that answer your question?
I love it. I love it all because so often
Mm,
we can sort of look at courses and modalities from a place of lack or feeling like this person is going to give me the things that I don't have inside me, but actually what I'm getting from you, and I know this is the
mm,
same for all of us in this industry and in this work, is that what we're doing is we're actually just helping people remember what is already there and facilitating the
mm,
unfolding and the unraveling of that. Um, and this it's just so powerful. So I want to share with you, like I went to Samantha's frequency retreat. So there's lots of different ways that you can experience her magic, So what I'm just an intuitive hit when, like, as you are going around and doing these sound ceremonies and people are lying there, you are activating all of these future sound healers, because sometimes it's just that experience in itself that wakes up something that's been maybe asleep or waiting in your soul. So if you've had that experience, then you can come and take, this is your invitation now, coming from Coach Deb, to take that step forward and take it further. So I went on the frequency retreat. That's what I chose for myself. Wasn't quite ready for the sound ceremonialist title yet, but I'm feeling very activated by all this imposter syndrome talk. So I'm like, oh, guilty, a little bit guilty.
mm.
Here I am, surrounded by instruments and a guitar. I'm learning guitar. Are you proud?
Oh,
Just going off on the
love.
sound situation. Guitar lessons tomorrow. Um, Frequency
Amazing.
retreat was one of those experiences for me that was so profound, almost in its simplicity. And I think it's what you're sharing there about the lineage of the songs, because I've been on retreats before and had amazing experiences. Then I come home and I act like I'm on retreat, or I feel the shift for about a week, and then I often will revert back to the old version of me. Sometimes things stick, sometimes they don't. But something about sitting in the song circles with the other women and all of their lineages, and then I sort of see the songs as their own entities. They've got their own life force, which is tapped into so many realms and so many things. But what has happened, Samantha, is I've got my songbook there. I sang the songs like every day, didn't have to make myself, wasn't like I should go and do my song. It was just like, oh, I really desire to. And then
Mm,
out on my grid work, or on my own retreats, or in my own time, or sometimes in a healing session with someone, the song just comes to me, like I can hear it in my head, and it's like that nudge to like bring through the energy of that, or to sing that song or hum that tune, and I'm just like, wow. And then I'll go to the book and look up, like, what was that one about again? I'm like, oh, that was perfect. So they are so
oh,
live. It's a profound experience. And the fact that we all sit in circles, by the end, singing together by the end of the retreat. um, we were in this incredible harmony, in this incredible frequency. And, we often step into retreats to heal our sisterhood wounds, and it's, working through our stuff around being in community. Like that's a really big part for me of going on retreats. And I know people sometimes will do a lot of workshopping around that where stuff happens very activating. This was just all like we just eased back into and remembered that we used to do this, and there was no competition and there was no pedestaling. We were just everybody's voice just melded into the whole. So just so beautiful for unity consciousness.
Oh, Deb, it was such a treat to have you at that particular retreat. I think it was May last year, and it was your birthday as well, wasn't it?
It's my birthday present to myself.
Mm, amazing. Well, it was nearly a year ago, and
A year ago.
I it was really a special time. It always is going back to Amore, going back to Rotopanamu, but also to have yourself there and to have you really resonant and feeling the song work really. You were so ready for it as well. So yeah,
Well,
it's
I'm
an
surprised. And
honor.
also what it did for me is I had a drum, like it was time for the drum and I'd bought the drum, but I was a bit like I hadn't gelled with my drum, but because of this, everything we've just shared about the frequency of these songs and the space that you hold, that's also like a profound piece is when you step into a space with a space holder that knows what they're doing and brings their full team in their light temple with them, magic just happens,
Mm.
right? And we're all riding that magical carpet together. And yeah, I was just like, I was at one with the drum and have been since. It's like now it feels like a friend. It feels alive as well. So thank you
Oh,
for marrying me with my drum.
I love it. Bit of drum activation there.
Yeah.
Love it.
Cool.
Mm,
Um,
thank you.
Beautiful. So frequency retreat, yeah. And so that was amazing too, because and this is totally unintentional, but I did 3 retreats in a row at Omori Lodge. So one was a modality training for the bones, the Kaneka work with beautiful Kori. And so it was like, that deep, deep foundational trauma work. And it was like so activating and such a reclamation
Mm.
on so many levels. It was just so powerful. The second time was breath work with the amazing Shannon Rose and Elevare. And that just fucking blew my mind. And then afterwards, I was like, I don't think I even really need to be a breathwork instructor. I've just had the most incredible experience of my life. And now that's with me and weaves into everything. And then the third time was the frequency retreat. And so I then kind of zoomed out because none of those things were planned to be like because of the retreat. Like I signed up for breathworks. I wanted to learn about the breath, the bones, to learn about the bones. Yours was just a gift to myself. And
Mm.
the modality that's coming through me from this painting that I channeled here is the 3 golden seals. And they do correspond to a lot of different things, but one of them is the bones and then the breath and then sound. And I was like, oh
Wow.
my
Oh.
God, I just went and had an activation with these 3 goddesses running retreats and also in the Lake Rotopanamu, 3 times. So I was like, well, the only thing left to do is obviously hold my own retreat there because I usually have it at a very small space. And they're like, we're not doing retreats anymore. And I was like, oh, I'm being pushed out of the nest into the wide world. Where shall I go? And I was like, the answer came in very, very quickly. Oh, Morty Lodge kind of feels like home now. Been there so many times. Or 3 times. You've probably been there more times.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I just keep heading back there, it's been a real home for me. I also did Elevade breathwork facilitator training with Shannon Rose the first round. So I've journeyed there, gosh, at least 4 or 5 times for
Mm.
retreat. Yeah.
Amazing. So
Mm.
I have got my own retreat, Activate Your Soul Voice. So many, if not all of the codes of what we've been discussing here tonight is kind of the purpose. It just feels like people are ready and I want to come back to something you said right at the start, which is it might not be about leading a circle with light language song and crystal bowls. For you, it might be about communicating better within your marriage, or freeing this so that you can express yourself and feel heard and feel seen and know that you matter in the world, which is, one of our most core wounds. So all of you is welcome to come. And then I was putting it all together with my lovely co-collaborators. And the funny thing is that I've got my two wingmen, and I said to them, I would love you to represent the first golden seal, because I really get that bones, that earth, that fire energy from you. And then I would love you, second beautiful facilitator, to be the breath, because she's a master of the breath. Lisa Whiteman, Rebecca Jennings. And then I was like,
Oh,
that means that I have to be the third one, the sound one. And this was a discussion that was had at my last retreat. And Rebecca pointed out to me, and it's funny, she used an example. She said, well, Deb, you don't have to be Samantha May. And I was like,
oh,
yeah, I don't, do I? I can just do me. And she's like, you haven't stopped
yes.
bloody singing and banging on your drum and shaking your scalp since you got here. I was like, true. That's me in my happy place. So, the profound ripples that we all have when we collaborate and weave together. So then it was, of course, a no-brainer to see if you were available to come and do a guest session with us. So I'm so freaking excited about that. Number one, because I get to receive one of your magical journeys. Um,
Mm.
and then, of course, being the little activator that I am, when I jumped onto your website, the first thing that jumped out at me was your light language offerings. And I was like, ooh, this could be a really amazing element to gently bring forth, because it's a big journey. And so
Mm.
we're not going to be doing like, massive amounts of activations and things around it, but just going to co-create and weave together. And I'm really feel like a big part of my purpose is to just kind of normalize, not normalize. I mean, these are still sacred modalities, but also to just be the bridge, I guess, and help people step in where there might be a little bit of like, I don't really get that. What is that? I'm curious, but I'm a little bit afraid. What do I do? Or like me, like I'm really interested in that, but that's not me. I can't do that. For
Mm.
those people. So I'd love to hear a little bit about how, or just your take on how you would describe light language. I know for each of us, it moves through us in a different way. It comes on through different experiences and in different forms, and sounds so very, very differently, and looks so very, very differently for people that write in this frequency. So I'd love to hear how do you describe it to people when you are introducing them?
Yes.
World.
So I describe it to people that like everyone who works with light language has their own unique relationship with it. But for me, it is this ancient form of universal communication, which bypasses the thinking mind and hits straight to the heart. This can be heart to heart communication. Some people even call it soul speak. And I speak it, I sing it, and it has this way of moving energy for me. It's like this great mover of energy, very efficient. And it all depends on whoever is in the room. Everyone holds their own unique soul signature, and then together, this collective energy is what I work with. Um, and I just trust with what's there, trust what needs to come up and come through helps to untie the knots that we tie within ourselves on physical, emotional, spiritual levels to make more space for us to then anchor in more light, essentially raising our frequencies. And everyone receives it in a completely different way, right? For some of us, it can be deeply activating, and we can have all sorts of remembrances come through and even feel like we recognize the sound or the language itself. We may even have all sorts of kind of dormant layers of our being come to the surface. Um, past life memories, if that's something that you resonate with, even dreams that you've been having, they kind of come to the surface. And if there's no clear message there, I often just bring forth that invitation of allowing your higher self to just observe, to then close down any tabs that might be in your field, to just make more space. For some people, light language just puts them out completely, and they need to kind of be a little bit unconscious in order to like receive it. And some people, it's just they're overcome with emotion. Um, and just to allow those tears for for some reason I attract all of these really powerful women who walk through the door and boom, as soon as I start speaking light language, it's like they come into priestess mode. They can no longer sit, and their hands start coming online, and they start wanting to kind of work on their own self-healing practice, or they even get called into their own gifts,
Mm.
which I encourage within that space, and working with themselves, not interrupting anyone else. They're welcome to work on their own self-healing practice. So that for me in a nutshell, keeping in mind when I first heard about this light language thing, I was very skeptical, and I thought, oh, that sounds like a load of crap. And it came through my hands initially before the voice. So yeah, now I just can't even imagine what it was like. I don't remember what it was like not having this modality in my life, and I work with it more than I do with other people. What everyone experiences in those events is like 10% of the light language that comes through me, as it's yeah something I work with every day, mainly for myself. Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. A little reminder for me to do that a bit more for myself.
Mm.
To
Mm.
wait till I'm serving others. Although,
Yes.
does this happen to you too? I can sometimes find myself wandering about with the trees outside or whatever, or the chickens muttering away there and realizing that I'm
Yes.
not speaking English. And it just comes.
Absolutely.
So, for anyone that's not familiar with the term light language, this is when we are speaking in what sounds like tongues from other languages that aren't necessarily known in our current 3D physical reality. And so we're just accessing from the realms of light, from the unseen. And I like to explain it like, for me, um, like an abstract painting. You know, when people go, but what does it mean? What is that about? And it's like, well, it can mean whatever you want it to mean. It means what it means, what how what it and what am I trying to say? I need some light language. How they
I love
receive
it.
is what it means, is I think what I'm trying to get across. And and it's actually infinite because it's open to interpretation. So I love that. Anything that taps us into um that space is such a powerful tool. And yeah, same thing. I was a little bit I think maybe in awe of other people and just thinking, wow, that's a really interesting gift. And how the freaking hell does that happen to a person? Are you just born with it? Does it get activated? For me, it was active. Someone asked me the other day, and it's funny, I must have been like, obviously, it has become quite an everyday thing because I really had to think hard. They said, how did you start doing this, or when, or why? And I was like, the course that I was speaking about earlier, it was in the light language portion of that course when I had the I
Ah,
make a single sound. And yeah, it was really, really activating, but not in a good way. I don't like the word triggering. I always say activating. So I didn't get anywhere in that one. And then I think if I had to put my if I'm actually really honest, I think it was when I dyed my hair blue. So I went to the hairdresser and they
mm,
went wild on my hair, and they were like, "Would you like blue hair?" I was like, "Do whatever you like." Famous last words. So it wasn't just
wow.
blue. I'd had blue hair before, but like quite, toned down. It was the brightest shade of electric blue that one could possibly imagine. But I got home, and as soon as I stepped here on this land, we live on quite a power portal here, I felt my crown chakra go, "Whoom." Started getting all these downloads about the creativity and the painting and the things and all of the stuff. And And it just the first time it happened, I was actually just driving along in my car down my driveway, and it just kind of came out, and I was like, oh,
Wow.
it felt like, when something comes through you where you didn't think about saying something, it just came through. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And then um, further on in more sacred ceremonies and activating spaces like the ones that you hold, breath work will be another one that um, has also brought on some very interesting sounds. Um,
Yes.
So, light language awakening, amazing. And I think I saw that you were advertising a course in this.
Mm.
That sounds incredible because there's a lot of curiosity. I'm in a group of light language, something or other. I can't remember what it's called. And I think there's 45,000 people in there. So maybe
Wow.
we're not as woo-woo as we think we are.
I love it. I love it. That's incredible that so many people are, working with this gift, and it's just everyone's kind of remembering or waking up like popcorn to this, these frequencies and expanding this range, this portal that we have. Um, yeah, these light language codes they're ready to come through. So yeah, it's
Well,
exciting.
you're a person that's on the edge like me, or maybe would it also suit people that are already playing in this realm that want to just go deeper? Your light language, because it's
Yeah.
coming up quite soon.
Yeah, so it's light language mastery. It is a 12-week course to remember these ancient soul expressions that we all have. And I've actually held this particular course 6 times previously. I think the first time I ran it was back in 2021. Um, oh, it says my internet connection is unstable. Hopefully, there's
Oh,
no
so you
glitch
came
there.
back. Yeah,
Oh,
you're back.
fantastic. So I've held it 6 times previously. 35 women have gone through this course from 5 different countries around the world. And I think it was over a year ago now where I thought, I'm closing this last round 6 and that's it. I'm ready to pass the torch. There were other women who were coming to me saying, I want to hold a light language course, but you're doing it and I don't want to step on your toes. And I thought, oh my goodness, like we need more of you. Like let's keep going. I'll come in as a guest speaker. And so I did.
Beautiful.
But throughout this past year, I've been inundated with messages. Are you going to be holding this course again? And I've always just said, no, no. I've done it many times before. But it just felt like I felt this revival and kind of like the phoenix rising from the ashes with this work. And I want to share it in a whole new way.
Mm.
And um, I have, if you're not ready to go in deep with me for these 12 weeks, it's yeah, I go live for 2 hours every week, and then there is some recorded replays that are for a bit of home play workshop. Um, yeah, a little bit of attunement there, which is recorded replay, as well as guest speaker replays. Um, there's so much content there. But essentially, if that's not really what you're ready for, I do have a masterclass and activation called Light Language Initiation. And it is where I share my whole journey on how I became activated in light language. Um, Very briefly, kind of how I use it and why it's important right now, and a few tips on how you can activate your own during this sound meditation activation. So that's on my website for $33.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's called Light Language Initiation. And then if you want to dive deeper with me, there's so much that I share, and it's so much more than light language itself. And there is opportunities within the 12 weeks where I create spaces intentionally for each of us to take turns sharing our own gift. To kind of have that exchange as such, whether it be dialect exchange, energy coding exchange, um, and yeah, there's a lot there, and I'm excited to be
a
holding that
little
space once
look
again.
before and like all the lineup of in
Mm,
the mixture of what you bring forth in there sounds really um dynamic and exciting. And I just want to like what you said right at the start there. I think that's a really key point that like even though you've done this course before, like this course is not going to be like those other courses because we're evolving so rapidly. The frequency everywhere is changing so much as other people. Clearly, the demand is there, so that's awesome. But I was having this conversation with a friend of mine who was a Reiki teacher the other day, and we were talking about our rebellious tendencies, breaking away from there's a little bit of heaviness I feel and clunkiness in the origins and the way that it's been taught, and actually it's still really important, but there's actually new ways that we can be bringing this through now because we have all done so much work in lightening ourselves up and activating our own selves. So I'm pretty excited to delve back into the Reiki space, but it's going to be like totally
mm.
rebellious out of the box and level 5.0. We'll go straight into level 5. So I think that's it. It's like you'll be bringing through something that's, going to blow your own mind. I think. You heard it.
Absolutely. Like every time I share it, it's different. But the fact that I haven't shared it in a long time, and I was so determined that I just put that down, and so for it to come back in full force in 2025 says a lot. So I'm excited to see what does come through. And it's interesting. I love how Reiki keeps getting weaved in because I feel like often in my events when I'm sharing light language, it is like Reikiing the room, Reikiing these people with the voice.
Yeah, because you can
Um,
send it through the voice, you can send it through the eyes, you can send it with your pure intention. You can, like there is no limit.
mm,
There is no limits, and that's where I'm going into that realm of like when you start to really throw away the rule book. Some really amazing things start to happen. Oh,
yeah.
so exciting. Oh my gosh,
Mm.
we even gone a little, oh no, we've gone about an hour. That's good. I thought we might have been going a bit over time. All right, so what else do we need to share? Because we have shared so many amazing things. I hope that whoever's watching is feeling super inspired to connect
Mm.
with beautiful Samantha. So go to her Instagram page. She was very good at posting what's coming up all around the country so that you can go to a live event. And those are very, very affordable. Like for what you receive, it's amazing. So that's another little bonus. Frequency retreat is that happening again soon? But you've got another retreat coming up with Melly.
Yes, I've got one coming up with Melly Rose. Melly Rose is a dear friend and mentor of mine. She's based in Sydney, so she'll be flying all the way over for this retreat. And it's going to be at Mana in the Coromandel. It is where Melly Rose had her light languages activated spontaneously about 8 years ago while on a retreat with Judy Satori, the grandmother of light language. And Melly Rose kind of could feel this activation coming over the first few days of the retreat. And it wasn't until she was just with a specific group of people in the cathedral part itself on the obsidian or onyx floor. She stood in the middle and then had this incredible experience that was, yeah, she tells it so well. And I've never been to Mana, but I've heard all of these incredible stories, and I've felt called to this specific retreat space for a very long time. And finally, it is happening. So, Rise Up Retreat will be from May 20th to the 23rd, and held by myself and Melly Rose. And it's a very similar theme of helping to really unchain and deshackle the throat chakra through looking at the programs that have been embedded within us through childhood and all the way up. Melly Rose, I would explain her as like just a master at shadow work, a master at coming in front of a group of people and knowing exactly what needs to be shared to help these people see what's been holding them back from standing and living in their highest truth, to take a different perspective and to really give themselves that power back to deprogram and reprogram. She just has this way of words through through this clear knowing. So she speaks from these really beautiful places that really resonate with people. But she also works deeply with light language as well. So she has this gift. It's very hard to explain, but I would say, yeah, master shadow worker, with the most beautiful human heart and compassion that I've ever met. And I'll be weaving through sound alchemy journeys that are going to be really helpful for integrating the deep work that Melly will be taking us through, and as well as song circles, vocal activations as well, just to assist with that further expansion of the voice, as that will be a big theme throughout the 4 days. So that is
Beautiful.
happening. Yeah.
Mana retreat is amazing. I used to live on the
Mm.
Coromandel for a little while, which was incredible. I was so lucky to be so close, and I used to go and do the open floor dance there every week, which was amazing. In the octagon,
Wow.
and we were, you could just walk up to that amazing, amazing cathedral space up the top. The configuration of it, the way what it does with sound in there is something that you have to go and stand there and make a sound and to really know, but it's mind-blowing and beautiful and amazing. So that sounds incredible. I'm like, oh, can I squeeze this into my schedule?
Yeah, and that one's
Right
actually
after
for
mine,
men.
I'll be like, oh.
I know, right? See if you can
Okay,
fit it in there. But I just wanted to mention, and that's for men and women, that
beautiful.
space. Because I know that a lot of my spaces are, it's like, especially the retreats and the song circles, it's mainly it's women only. But this particular retreat, Melly and I felt it was really important that we bring both men and women together. So we're really calling upon some beautiful, strong, divine masculine men to be a part of this space.
Absolutely.
Um,
Well, I think
yeah.
mana itself will hopefully pull them in because it has quite
Yeah,
a beautiful divine masculine feel to it. So, ah, that's amazing. Calling all the men.
totally.
Um, yeah, and men are welcome to come on my retreat this year as well. That was a very strong directive from Spirit last time. It's like it's time actually to and the feeling is for us women to let ourselves be received in these vulnerable states of self-expression with our men present. It doesn't have to be your men, but men. So yeah, I love that this is happening now. We're starting to open the doors and let them in because that's actually what they want. It's what we want, but it's actually what they want.
Mm,
So I love that. That's beautiful. Oh my gosh, what an amazing chat. You've got so many incredible offerings. So we'll post, when this is posted, we'll put all of your links to everything underneath so that people can
mm,
find you and connect. And I just can't wait to share space with you at Activate Your Soul Voice. My retreat is in May the 1st to the 5th. So you'll feel that there's two very different currents going on, whichever one you feel the call to follow your own spirit-led guidance. You cannot make the wrong choice.
mm,
You'll know mine are very quite activating. Again, I would say dynamic retreats where we weave with each of the 5 elements and each element guides the days. So people are like, can you make it shorter? I was like, no, I can't. It's a big work and we're doing quite a lot of communing with nature. So it's almost a whole day at Lake Rotorpanamu, the most
wow.
sacred river on earth. We'll be working with the Merkaba there and actually opening some portals through to Egypt, which is where I've been told I shall be told by these voices. Um, yeah, there's a future retreat happening there. And Egypt is actually, I think, sitting around the throat center of the Earth's chakra system. So that's an interesting connection point. I can't, mine are often very channeled in the moment too. So we have creative alchemy with me, which is a process through paint of similar, helping you to step out of your mind and rewild yourself and come back to the knowing that you actually are creative at your core. That's actually what you are. You are sound, you are light, you are creation itself. And we've got beautiful Bex with her amazing breath work, which is beyond description. Samantha is coming for a special guest spot. We've got Lani from Golden Feather Alchemy with all of her incredible alchemy bowls. She's got the most amazing collection in the Southern Hemisphere, I would say. And she's doing some really interesting work with what happens, and I'm sure you've experienced this when your voice starts to co-create with the crystal bowl and it actually takes on a crystalline sound, and we're actually
Mm.
purifying this space here, because that's where all of the energy of the body comes through to be purified so that you can open to this higher realm. We've got
Oh
my
my
amazing
gosh.
Lisa does this incredible earth magic, which is hard again to put into words, but she creates these portals and spaces when you step through it, and can access, your intuitive channels. So we do not creative writing, it's more channeled messages in places in nature. So it's just amazing. You think, I won't be able to do that. And then you're like, "Brrr," and you're like, holy shit, I am the oracle. Wow. So,
Wow.
a lot of
What a
stuff,
lineup.
a lot of self-expression stuff. But I'm loving the sound of yours as well, to go really deep into the what's maybe holding us back in that space. So, oh my gosh, I'm just buzzing about this. I was very tired before this call. Now I am fully activated, Samantha. I'll probably be up till 1 a.m. just like buzzing out about how cool life is. Sharing the world with magical humans like you. So thank you so much for coming
Mm.
on and being a guest and sharing your journey. It's
Mm.
so inspiring, and um, I just want more Samantha. So
Oh, Deb, thank you. I feel very blessed and honored to be asked to come online today. And I went to go and check to see if anyone's asked any questions on the Facebook, but then it started playing us, and I thought, oh no, you can
Oh,
probably hear that coming
well,
through.
if you have been here, thank you very much for tuning in. And we didn't make
Yeah.
it off the flow. That's me. I get very distracted. So
Oh yeah.
go through and read all the comments and
Yeah,
respond
I'll read the
afterwards
comments.
to any beautiful souls that are here or on the replay. Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to infinity and beyond.
Mm.
Mhm.
We'll
Mhm.
be seeing you very soon, Deb. I'm looking for, I can feel the energy building already for this retreat, and I'm so excited to see who will be joining us for your retreat at Amori Lodge. Rotopanamu is such a magical space, and this offering is truly a gift. So, yeah, very honored again. So, thank you.
Wait. All
Mm.
right. Thank you, my soul sister and soul sisters and brothers out there. We will see you next time. Mwah.
Yeah.